Welcome to your Wordless podcast, the space where we redefine success, self-worth, and transformation. I am Nierras, the soul-centered architect of transformation, helping you unlock your highest potential and build a legacy beyond limits. Now, whether it is self-mastery, career breakthroughs, or wealth creation, this is where change begins. Now let's dive in. Deanna, could you share with us what was it like growing up as a Deanna Read?
I'd like to say I had a pretty fortunate childhood. My parents are still married to this day. My dad worked in construction, so he was the provider. My mom was home most of the time when we were really young. Um, it was the type of childhood that I think most people would want. I was very happy, very well taken care of, and I had two sisters to keep me company, one older, one younger, so I could pick on one and get picked on by the other. It all evened out.
Yeah, it even out. Okay, so what got you into marketing? What is a backstory about your career?
The backstory of my career is I've always been kind of a left brain and right brain person. I blame it on being left-handed. I like to be.
Me too. I can relate.
Well, it's so hard being a lefty living in a right-handed world, but the benefit of it is I feel like you really get this duality. You're so used to kind of having to reverse things in your mind or whatever to accommodate. And I think it just plays really well into marketing. I love analytics. I love really diving into data. I'm not such a fan of math, but data and trying to figure out what the data means has been really interesting to me. But at the same time, I was also a very creative person. I used to do clay crafts. I would paint, not very well, but I would paint. And once computers really became a thing and you could do art on computers, I used to create all these posters just for fun. And it just happened that I saw somebody at work that was our VP of marketing, saw her doing it in her office and was like, oh my gosh, you can get paid to do this, and was just hooked on marketing right then and there. And I took some classes. The more classes I took, the more I became involved in kind of the marketing industry, and the more I realized it is a never-ending education. Our technology is growing so rapidly. We're innovating constantly. And so that's why I got my bachelor's degree, then I went and got my master's degree. Now I'm doing my doctorate. I really don't think I'll be stopping there. I feel like it's just
Wow.
continuing to take courses. So much is changing. I mean, the marketing from today is completely different than the marketing I did when I first started 15 years ago. And
Yeah.
so, but
Who? Oh my gosh. I mean, I sometimes when I hear about people like you and I feel like I want to get into the market, but then you're early. I always peg myself as late, right? But then no one is ever late to join the bandwagon. And right now, I feel hearing from you, you must have been in the industry for 2 decades at least. Or
close to it. Yeah.
my God, here I am. Just wait, hang on. I just launched Instagram last month, so it's like, oh my God, compared to that, a long way to go. But then if you keep at it with whatever that's available to each one of us right now, you can self-educate, you can follow people like yourself or anybody, just keep on putting the work and then don't lose focus. I mean, when I say this, yeah, you're saying,
I was going to say, I'm sorry. I want to touch on your comment about you feel like you're coming in late.
yeah,
You are coming in at the perfect time. Because like I said, when I started, we did marketing very different. It was the starting of, well, internet had been around for a little bit, but you didn't have Google Ads. You didn't have all of the analytics that you have at your disposal now. You're coming in with already a comfort ability with digital tools, and you're going to be able to learn them quickly. You're going to be able to utilize all the digital tools right away to help you out. There's no bad habits. There's no old habits. We're a completely different industry. You're coming in, it's like you're coming into a new industry because we are new compared to what we were when I started. And so you're not having to adjust. You're coming in.
Yeah.
Okay.
This is how we do things right now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's definitely a benefit, not a hindrance. Don't feel like you're coming
Okay.
in late in the game. You're not. You're coming just as the game's getting started.
Okay. Ooh, okay. Oh, so after our interview, I would be going out there and then creating my content and just putting it out. I mean, it's got to have testing and all those things, but then I'm not gonna give. It can be very lonely. I can tell you that. Nobody in my family is in marketing. I mean, always been an accountant. So, my brother-in-law, he doesn't live with us, so he's far away. So it's just me. So I'll text him like, "Hey, I need help. What do I do? Yeah, you gotta do this." But you can't just rely on him on that one. So, okay, that really assured me, Deanna. Thank you so much.
Well, I'm glad. Yeah, definitely. Don't even sweat it.
Okay. Okay, so we did touch about relationship building, right? In terms of your marketing. How do you define this in a professional context and how does it differ in personal life?
That's a great question. Defining like the marketing, and again, here's kind of a perfect example. Traditionally, when I first got into marketing, you had B2B, which was business to business, or B2C, which was business to consumer or customer. And it was basically when you're talking to your end user or your end buyer, are they with a business or are they walking in to like your store to purchase or buying online from you to purchase for them to use? And so all of your content, all of your strategy was based upon, am I selling to a business or am I selling to a person, like to a customer? And what B2I marketing does is you kind of remove those labels and you realize that everybody's a little different. We all have our own different motivations. We all have our different needs. But when you strip all that down, we're all just a human. And so it's really about connecting with that person and treating almost kind of going back to the B2C, but like treating everybody that way, treating whoever you're working with, whenever you're trying to market to them, marketing to them as a person versus as an entity, as just a business or just a customer that's going to be walking into your door, understanding that they have a whole life outside of buying from you and being respectful of that. One of the things that I really integrate in my BTI marketing is I'm not going to send an email unless I think it has value for them. And it's not that old story of, oh, well, I'm telling them about a sale. So there's definitely a value there. If they don't see the value in it, they're not going to care. It's just going to be junk that's filling up their space, filling up their time. They're going to have to either delete it or scroll through it. It has to have value. If you're sending something into their space during their time, you have to be bringing value to them. And so that's, I guess, like the short end of what I consider B2I marketing.
So it's touching the human part of the individual. But then how is that different with a customer? Hi, I'm Nierras, your host of the Your Wordless podcast. Now, if these real raw stories hit home, don't wait. Please follow, like, and subscribe my Spotify and YouTube. For bite-sized inspirational reels, follow me on Instagram, TikTok, and LinkedIn. Don't wait. Your transformation starts today. Thank you, and bye for now.
So a customer, a lot of times it goes in, you have like your talking points.
Oh, it's like a that.
Exactly. I was asked the other day, well, do you still use personas? I personally, I don't mind using them in the very beginning, but I feel that they're great for brainstorming, but I don't really feel like those should be your guiding
And all
light.
be all.
Yeah, because that persona is going to fit just a small percentage of your audience. And you're going to get so narrow minded on this particular person is who I'm speaking to that you're going to miss everybody else. And I think we've all gotten the kind of emails where you're like, I know this was not directed at me. Like they don't know.
Yeah.
And that's not how you want to come across to your audience.
Oh my gosh. I think you hit a very, very good point there. So you're talking about what I'm hearing is personalization. How important is personalizing to the people that you're serving? Like, how do we start doing that? And how do we make sure that we can sustain it as a business?
It's definitely important. I feel like that's one of the ways that Starbucks really kind of became so big, because people start talking about my barista knows my name. She writes my name on the cup. There's that connection. It depends on every business, how you start, how you integrate, but you want to make sure that you're always doing it in a way that doesn't come across creepy or stalkerish.
Yeah,
Because
stalkerish. Yeah.
because I've had those weird emails too, where they're like, "Oh, I saw you on LinkedIn. I saw you're a member of this group and this group. I think we have some things in common. Do you want to meet so I can try to sell you this product?"
Oh, but
It's
they
like
didn't really say that right to your
it's not word for
face, right?
word.
But then
They,
they're
yeah,
implying that. Okay.
yeah, definitely. And it's like, okay, so what you did was looked at my LinkedIn page. You wrote down some notes as to what I'm doing. And now you think that because you've told me that, then I'm going to be like, oh, this is so cool. Yeah, I'll sit and meet and talk. A for effort, but it comes across very weird. It's got to be genuine. It's got to be, and I think that's the thing too, is you can't just be going through the paces. You really have to be devoted to respecting your audience. And that's
That's a
where
good
it
one.
starts.
That's a good one. Yeah.
And it just, you integrate it in your business in various ways. You ask your clients and your customers for permission to get their information. You ask for permission to communicate with them. A little bit of a side step, but there's a coffee company that I purchase coffee from, and they happened to email me yesterday asking if I celebrate Valentine's Day. And they asked me that
No.
because when
No, personally?
they sent to all their customers
Okay, but then
like
they
a
have to
little,
say.
do you celebrate Valentine's Day? Just let us know. And it's because they're planning on sending out an email for Valentine's Day. But you
Like,
don't like, if you don't like Valentine's Day, they want to keep you away from that email. Like they're trying to be respectful of the fact that you don't like Valentine's Day. Those are the little things that it was like, you want to be respectful of me. And that's fantastic. Like, yeah, I'll tell you the answer. Yeah, Valentine's Day is no problem. I love it. Whatever. But it's those little things that they do that just really endears you to that company. You feel like they care, and any company can do it. You look for the opportunities that are there.
wow. So I was on the right track of mine because I know my audience is some may like this topic, some might not like it so much. So, but it can get overwhelming for me because I gotta cater for each one of them. Okay, so let's say just take a person, for example, who's trying to serve a different types of market out there, but they still want to get them connected or in touch with your branding and really create that connection that she actually cares for me and about me. What can one do so that, let's say, personalization? Yes, that's one, but I'm sure there are other ways as well. How can we stay that way, but make sure that you're not, the person who's doing that is not bogged down with all these tiny details?
Great question. A lot of times you can bring it to your audience. You can ask them, like, put out surveys. How often do you want to hear from us? What do you want to hear from us about? Let them
That's a
kind
good
of
one.
tell you what they're interested in. And that allows
Mm,
you to give the personalization without, oh, well, let me try this, let me try that, and having to think of everything. Let them kind of tell you what they. I just recently did that, and it's really interesting to see some of the responses that you get. Some people just like, whatever, just send me anything. And others are like, I only want to know if I'm going to be saving money on something or whatever. But ask your audience. And then you can always start small and build from there. It's not meant to overwhelm you. The benefit is you're going to create stronger, more meaningful relationships with your customers. And you're going to have a higher quality of customer because they're going to have much more brand loyalty because they know that they're respected with you.
yeah. Well, I was letting that sink in. Already strategizing how am I gonna share this to my audience. Well, okay, thank you for that, Deanna. Whew. Okay, so how can we maintain authenticity? Becoming a podcast host was a natural extension of my second act. And after spending 15 years in the corporate world, I've transitioned to helping individuals overcome challenges like navigating tough relationships, career burnout, and aligning their mission with their soul's calling. By certifying as an RTT hypnotherapist and a lifestyle coach,
I've made it my mission to empower people to recreate the life they deserve and building a supportive community through my podcast. Now, let me ask, are you facing challenges like struggling to reprogram your mind to attract wealth, weight issues that feel like a constant yo yo, insomnia or restless nights from daily worries, or just a lack of confidence in public speaking? If the answer is yes, visit www.thenierrasholisticlifestyle.com and grab a free hypnosis audio of these common struggles. It's a sneak peek into how my coaching works. Are you feeling shy? Don't be, because I'm as real as it gets. Let's connect on Instagram and LinkedIn and start your transformation today.
So it's when you've got a brand, a lot of times we create the branding guidelines, we put in our branding voice, and there's a lot of times that we can really just kind of get locked into that and we don't step outside of that. But as humans, we're not always going to be just on. You see certain brands that they'll step outside of kind of their branding voice when things are happening. With the fires in LA, you saw a lot of brands kind of stepping out of what they would typically be posting, and they're posting more empathetic things, more supportive things. That's authentic. When you start to make your brand feel human and feel interactive, it becomes authentic. It's not just some profile speaking out constantly and just putting out promotional, information, promotional post after promotional post. Authenticity is being your true self. And we know you're like anybody is not going to just be spouting out promotional stuff all day long. And so it's really connecting again at like that human level. It's okay to not have a sales pitch in every single one of your posts. It's okay to ask questions. It's okay to express some opinions. You want to keep it somewhat professional, but being authentic is really being human and putting that human touch back into your business. So it's not just a name, it's not just a brand.
It's not just you're just out there to sell people your product or your service. Yeah, I notice whenever, because I think the most important thing, one important thing that I realize is that when you're posting your content, you have to think of it from the perspective of the ones receiving it. Would you actually like that content? Would you click like, or would you share it? Or would you just dismiss it by saying, I know he or she is, I know where they're going with this. They're just going to try to sell me a product.
Exactly.
So how important is using your intuition? Because I don't know, maybe I'm very sometimes I can criticize myself a lot, especially when, we tend to judge ourselves and we're early, and they say, oh, I don't think I'm doing this right. Oh, maybe because they see me put like something like, hey, DM me for this, how can we infuse that?
So one of the things I do is I look at what am I interacting with online? Just
Okay.
paying attention to your own habits.
Mm.
Typically, like I'm kind of my own customer. I'm very similar to what my target customer would be. And
Ooh, I
so
love that.
I look at that. I look at what am I doing? What interests me? What catches my eye? You also look at case studies of brands that are doing really well. Whenever I feel like I need inspiration, I go and look at Wendy's social accounts. Wendy's burgers, like they have become famous for, I mean, they were famous before, but on the marketing side, they're famous for their tweets and for their social media profile. They love to stir things up, but you can go and actually look at a brand that's close to what you are and look at how people are responding to their different posts, to their different content. Is there a lot of engagement when they're providing information, tips, tricks, how-to videos? Is there a lot of engagement when they're talking about events? And you can kind of learn what that audience is interested in. And then you start testing and experimenting on your side. How can I make this unique to me? How can I make this an extension of what our business is and make it really resonate with that audience?
between putting me as the center of, say, do I like what I sell to myself versus what does the market want from me? How would you divide that? This is just me thinking out loud.
That's a really good question. So again, for me, like, I just know I am my typical, what my typical client would be. Your typical client may be a little bit different than who you are. That's where all of the data becomes really important.
Right. Okay.
If you're seeing that there's not a lot of resonating, if you're like, well, I really like how-to guides. I love doing infographics. I really do love infographics, but I've noticed most of my audience doesn't. And so that's probably not something for me to be putting out there because they're just going to scroll past. The last thing I want to do is train my audience to ignore my content. The minute you start putting out stuff that's not resonating with them, you're training them to scroll past you. And so when I see that there's no engagement with it, I know I need to change something. One or more of the little factors of where did I post it? Is that the right platform to post it on? Is it the right time of day to post it? Is it the right day to post it? Is it the right content? All of those factors you have to look at. And that's where you start to do the experimentation. Okay, well, let me try it on a different day. Let me try it at a different time. It's not going to always be the exact same content. You switch it up, but you start doing all this testing to figure out what is going to be the most successful. Because if you keep just putting out something that they don't want to see, they're not going to be looking when you put out something that's of real value. And that's why you have to have everything that you put out.
Yeah. And I noticed some of the content that I put, let's say for reels, right? It's getting some views, but there are no comments. Like I see it, like there are views, but then there are no comments. I'm like, okay, am I doing something wrong? And I kind of, yeah, yes.
Oh, I was just gonna
Sorry.
say it's hard because it's like, as a user, and it's awful. Confession time. I'm a marketer. I know how important comments are, but I am notorious for watching and being like, "That's really cool," and then just flipping on to the next.
And then grow us.
And so
See, it's the human psychology, right?
it
Because we're
is.
so pampered with all of this other entertainment or products that we say, "Oh, what would," but then again, what is the dance between when do I post, when do I not post? I notice when I'm posting is that I'm aware that as a now that I can call myself a business owner, I need to be engaging first. So then I do that. But then if you're just pure consumer, you're just gonna be scrolling past. Oh, I stay for about 10 seconds, and okay, that's cool. I got something from it. Go. But then on the other side, you're the one creating it. I'm like, you got 400 views, but then nothing. What?
So my question is, do you have a CTA in your reels at all? And it's
Oh yeah, my okay, what I'm talking in regards to the reel of my podcast. So the reels of my podcast. So that means my CTA would be go check out my YouTube and watch the full episode there. That's it.
that's it right there.
Yeah. Yeah.
You're directing them to go somewhere else. They're going to go
No
somewhere else.
wonder. Okay. Okay. Okay, I get it. But then I do put like drop what are the key takeaways for you? Drop them in the comments. Crickets.
So try asking what types of episodes they'd want to see in the future. When you talk about key takeaways, most of the time when people are on social media, like you and I, we go on social media because that's our business. That's that's where we're living to make transactions.
Yeah.
But the common audience is going there for relaxation, for entertainment. And so you've put on the reel, they're watching it. Oh, this is really, really cool. And then you say, well, what are the key takeaways? All of a sudden that kind of becomes like, oh my gosh, we have a pop quiz. I wasn't paying attention. Like I was paying attention, but I wasn't paying attention. Now what am I supposed to say? And especially if they go in there and like, well, what is everybody else saying? And nobody else has said anything. It just becomes down the line.
Right.
you want to give them the opportunity you want to encourage them to comment, but without it feeling kind of like a pop quiz. Like, I completely understand where you were coming from. It's a great idea. I just think what's probably happening is they're watching it, they're enjoying it, but then when you get to what are your key takeaways, it's like, I don't know. I don't remember what it was. And now
It
they're all
resonated for a second, for a bit, but then I've forgotten everything because
yeah, it's unfortunate. And that's what social media has really done. I mean, we have like 5 second, 60-second memory. That's it before we're scrolling on to the next video, the next post. And well, what else is there? What else is going on? I think it's interesting. A lot of the social media platforms are now increasing the length of time that you can have videos. And so I think what like TikTok has 10 minutes now that you can post a 10-minute video. And
oh yeah,
yet when I watch, most of the creators are not using the 10-minute videos. They're not using the really, really long ones because I think you, it's hard for somebody who's built an audience off of these really short videos to then get that audience to commit to that long of a time.
Mm,
You've got to figure out how to switch over to that. And so my advice to you would be, yeah, try more open-ended where they can be a little bit creative. And on the flip side, it also gives you the data of this is something that would interest my audience. This is something that they're looking for. So try to find kind of calls to action that'll make them post, but that they can kind of post based upon what they're feeling, what their thoughts are, but it's also giving you feedback as to this is what my audience needs.
okay, I might need to change my strategy a bit. I could also put poll in the comments, right, and see. Yeah. Okay. Wow. Wow. I'm learning so much today. I'm so appreciative of this, Deanna. Okay. Now, now you talk about ethical marketing, right? That's your, I don't want to, maybe your niche, your specialty.
It's It's definitely really important to me. I think of way back, kind of the salesperson had this really bad stereotype of, they're just trying, and a lot of times marketing was the same way. I mean, if you've ever seen the show Mad Men, you see it's all, oh, we're going to do smoke and mirrors. We're going to convince them this. And so we've had kind of a bad rap in that. And I think in many ways it was kind of, yeah, we deserved it, but we're trying to move towards being much more ethical. And being ethical is being very careful with the information that customers provide to you, keeping it secure, not lying, not misrepresenting things. I've had in my experience, unfortunately, certain times where it's like, well, why don't we just say, especially when you're putting out facts, for example, in blog posts, in articles, in content that you're putting on social media. It's very tempting to be like, well, just say we have a 97% success rate. But do we? Like, anybody can say it.
Yeah.
But the minute that they start working with us, if they don't feel it, then you've just kind of, it's obvious to them that, okay, well, if we weren't very accurate in that, what else were we not accurate when we talk to them about? You set up for a break in trust. So ethical marketing is just, treat the customer the way you would want to be treated as a customer. And then don't ever give the customer a reason to start to lose trust.
Oh, wow. That's very powerful because, I also see all these business owners online, and they say, these are all the raving, what our raving clients are saying, raving about us. I can't help but to wonder, really, or if you're not aware, oh, this is actually really cool. And then first you observe them for a couple of maybe few weeks, and then you see their post, and then they post again. They're good. Okay. Because humans need nurturing, right? But then if you're nurtured to a point that you agree to buy to their service, and then only to find out that they're not as good as they tell, as you experience them, you're going to be like, man, I just invested, but then I'm not getting the result. Therefore, word of mouth travels very fast, especially social media. Just one story and everybody's like, oh, did you hear about that? Did you hear about this person or this business? So it's a jungle out there. It's a jungle, but if you have your own light, you have your own lane, and you stay true to that lane, you have your integrity, and you take heed from other marketers that have done this, forge their own path, and just replicate that, but not forgetting your true essence. Then you can get you'll get there, I think.
100%. I mean, you hit the nail on the head. I mean, that is the formula for being successful, is you kind of look at what's working for others. You take those concepts, you make them your own, but you do it in an ethical way and in a way that's going to resonate with your audience, and you're going to be successful. But kind of going back to what you mentioned about the reviews, one of the things that I personally, I don't ever trust a company that has nothing but 5-star reviews. Because
Yeah. I mean, if you're selling to a marketer, yeah, I mean,
we're human. Mistakes happen. None of us are perfect all the time, every time. And so if you have 45, either you're paying for your reviews or you're blocking the ones that are less than 5 stars, or you're
yeah.
making. But it's very, very rare that you would find a company that really, really has nothing but 45-star reviews. I've never worked for a company that I would think earned nothing but 5-star reviews. I mean, mistakes happen. You work with them and you take care of them. But that's one of the things that I look at quite frequently. And that's kind of where it gets into the ethical. Like, let the reviews be the reviews. It's more how you respond to the negative reviews than the negative review being there. If a negative review is there and you just don't respond to it or you delete it, that's not the right way to go about it. It's reaching out to that customer, responding to that review in a very ethical, empathetical way, and reconnecting with them, earning their trust back, earning that, like showing them that respect. And it could be anything from, apologizing for poor service, offering, them to come back and you'll make it right, to, we had somebody who, one of the places that I worked, we had somebody complain about their rate of pay. And so we reached out to them directly, spoke with them, and then then turned around and on the review talked about how, we were sorry that they felt that way. We wanted to make it right. We wanted to have a discussion with them. It's all in the way that you address it. You have to show that you really do care and that it matters. And then anybody who reads that, when they're reading the negative review, they're instantly going to look and see, okay, well, what did they say about it? Like, how did they respond? And that's where you win them back. And that's going to be so much more powerful than looking at, oh, well, they've got 5 stars all the way. Awesome.
Seems so sus.
Yeah. It totally does to me.
Yeah, seems so sus. So now, because I'm about to post my some of my clients reviews, so some of them are like 4.5. So I was still thinking, how do I position this? I'm like, and then you just said it. Okay, I think you should. Yeah, okay, I will. I'll choose that 4.5. All right. So Deanna, you're doing marketing now. What else are you doing?
That's a big question.
What's keeping you occupied?
What is currently keeping me occupied is a little side project that I started out of I really believe in mentorship and, well, a couple things. I believe in leadership, but leaders who are mentors, they're partners, they're supporters. I think good leadership skills are really, really important. And I think there's a lot of people out there who call themselves leaders, but don't really quite get what a leader should be. And I think we become so competitive in our work that it's like, oh, well, I can't show them that. Like, then they'll know that too. And I think that's not the right way. Like, I really feel like we should support each other. And so I've started creating this project. It's called Lead, Teach, Market. And it's all about empowering people, helping them become better leaders, better mentors, and better marketers. And it doesn't necessarily mean you have to be in a marketing position. It's marketing yourself professionally. It's all about building this community of people that are going to support each other, they're going to uplift each other, and they're going to help each other so that we can become the best version of ourselves professionally.
Wow. Wow. Lead, teach, and
Well,
market. Wow. And this is a community that you're building?
I'm building it. It's going to be the way I've envisioned it is I'll
Mm.
have a podcast.
No,
Um,
you're gonna be.
I'm terrified.
No, don't be. I think you're great.
Thank you. um, it's a podcast. It's doing online events and then also doing in-person networking events. And so we'll have trainings that we can do, teaching on different leadership styles, how to integrate them into your leadership style. We'll have mentoring groups. One of the things that I want to create within it is like an AI mentoring group, because I've done a lot with AI recently and been on some panels, and I'm realizing everybody has different levels of AI comfort and AI understanding. Thankfully, I've found that people that are using it are much more willing to, oh, let me show you the prompts that I use. And so that's great, but you have to kind of know them. I really want to have this like group built so we can really start to kind of put together that shared knowledge and help each other become better marketers with AI, better professionals using AI in our business. So there's a lot of big plans for it. It's gonna take some time, but I'm working on it. We've almost got the website launched, hopefully like in the next couple of weeks, and then it's just gonna be building from there. And then I've got to get the guts to start the podcast.
I think you're gonna do great. I love the initiative and I want to be a part of it. It
Well, you're
sounds so
definitely welcome.
exciting.
I'd love to have you a part of it.
Okay, thank you. I am gonna wait for that. Yeah, we're connected on LinkedIn, so once it's up there, just drop me a line, and yeah, I'd love to join. Oh my
Well,
god, yeah! Finally, I'm not on this on my own.
exactly. And that's exactly, I don't want any marketer or any professional to feel alone. Like, and that's the weird thing is there's not a lot of professional training within businesses. It's kind of like you're supposed to come with that experience and that knowledge, but nobody wants to provide that experience and knowledge. It's all kind of on the job training. And that's when you
Yeah.
pick up bad habits and
Mm.
you're not learning everything. You're just learning whatever those people know or from experience or whatever. It's so valuable to really be able to provide people. Again, I've had experience with leaders that didn't quite understand leadership. There wasn't a lot of support, and I've felt alone plenty of times. And I don't want anybody else to feel that way. There should be support. The most important thing for me is I don't want you to have to go broke doing it. And so I'm working however I can. I'm looking at any kind of funding or grants that I can do so that I can provide all of this without charging people or charging people just a very small fee to keep it going. But I really want it to be accessible to anybody so that anybody can come in, learn from it, and grow with it, and not have to worry about how am I going to afford it? Or if I do this, how am I going to afford everything else I have going on? So I really want it to be inclusive that way.
I just want to give you a hug, a virtual hug. Okay, Deanna, we're gonna pivot to a self-worth question. And the question for you that I chose today was is negative self-talk. So well, we all have this, and negative self-talk can impact the way we see ourselves, or if it's bad enough, we tie it to our sense of self-worth. What do you do when you have that? How do you pull yourself out of it?
So this is actually like probably the perfect question for me. Kudos on your intuition because I can be the queen of negative self-talk. That's partly why I'm like nervous about the podcast because I have really, really, really bad stage fright for so long in my life. There were times where I couldn't even talk on conference calls. They didn't even have to see me. It was just talking in front of like my boss on a conference call with vendors, and they asked me a question and I couldn't even answer. I just kind of sat there staring at my boss. And the whole time, there's all this negative self-talk going on in my head of, oh my gosh, I can't believe you're doing that. Oh, here you go again. It can be very debilitating. What I've done to try to combat all of that is I feel exposure really just kind of the more I expose myself to it, the less painful it's going to be. And so um, I've gotten into the habit of reminding myself if I sit there and think, oh, well, maybe you're not so good at this marketing thing. Maybe this isn't going to work out for you. I go back and remind myself, well, no, it worked out when I did this. It worked out when I did this. I was able to do this. Like this was where I was successful. And so kind of keep a win book. Anytime something that you do that brings you joy, that makes you proud in your role, write it down. And when you start to have that negative self-talk, go back and look, well, no, you know what? I was able to accomplish this. I was able to accomplish this. Like, no, little voice, you can go now because I know that I'm doing all right. And for me, I'll go through my wins. And then like with this, I just put myself in that position as much as possible now to become comfortable with it, because that's what's really going to stop that voice from being there, is showing it that no, you're not.
And I love that. And you're appearing on podcasts based on your story, from the time where you maybe froze even in front of your boss. And then now you're appearing on podcasts and you're about to launch your own podcast. I mean,
I know.
as a third party, I don't know much about you, but that I can say like, yeah, you've come a long way.
It's just, again, it's all about challenging yourself. I can't let that voice win because I know what's going to happen if I do. There's going to be guilt. There's going to be regret. And I don't want to live with those. So I've got to put my energy into proving that voice wrong.
Yes, just what I needed for the day. Okay, so Deanna, what is your heart's greatest wish?
That actually, it's not that hard of a question. The more I think about it, it's what my heart's greatest wish has been all the time. I always just want to provide for my family. I have 3 boys and a husband, and every morning I wake up and it's just, I want to spend the day doing whatever I can to provide for them, to show them the love, to show them the support. And that's what everything I do is for.
Ha! Oh, okay. Thank you. Thank you. If you could create a quote right now for you to leave to the audience and the world as your legacy, what do you think it would be?
I'm just going to go with what just popped into my head, and that's challenge yourself. Like, surprise yourself, challenge yourself. Because that's when you grow, that's when you learn, and you learn a lot about who you are. So yeah, challenge yourself.
So how can people reach out to you and read up about your tips, how you are, your insights in the marketing industry and whatever projects that you have going on or going to be launching in the future?
The best way is my LinkedIn right now, which is Deanna Read 1. Soon, leadteachmarket.com will be published. And I'm also working on just kind of my professional website as well, deannaread.com. So those will both be launching soon. But in the meantime, you can follow me on my LinkedIn.
Brilliant. Brilliant. Okay. So, Deanna, is there anything you would like to share it with before we close this?
I'm just really grateful for this opportunity. It's been amazing speaking with you, and I'm excited to watch your journey. I can't wait to continue our conversations and follow up and see kind of where your journey goes as a marketer. And honestly, if anybody's looking into getting into marketing, or if anybody is doing marketing and they have questions, my door is always open. Please feel free to message me through LinkedIn, connect with me on LinkedIn. Again, I really want to just support and help however I can.
That means a lot to me. That means the world. Thank you so much.
My pleasure.
I'm not alone now. Okay. All right. So for our listeners, there you have it. That is a wrap with our guest, Deanna Read, today. Thank you for your wisdom, Deanna, and for continuing your work to uplift others. For our listeners, this has been Your Worthless. Read that again. The juxtaposition of your very soul. Remember, if you ever felt worthless, you're not alone. Your soul chose to be here to matter. And for that reason alone, you are worthy. huge thank you again, Deanna, and to all of you for listening. Until next time, I am Nierras, your host. Keep shining, keep growing, and remember, you are worthy and you are enough. See you in the next episode. Thank you, Deanna, for your time.
Thank you.
And hi, Deanna. Good evening to you. How are you?
Good. Hi. How are you?
I'm doing great. I'd like to say thank you for saying yes to be interviewed today. And for our listeners, I'd like to introduce myself formally and to you as well. My name is Nicolette. I am the creator for the podcast titled You're Worthless. Read that again, the juxtaposition of your very soul. Okay, today we're going to talk about digital marketing. And before that, I'd like to introduce you to our listeners today so they can get ahead of what they're diving into today. So, if you allow me. Hello, everyone. We have Deanna Read here with us. Deanna is a digital marketing strategist and expert in B2I, business to individual marketing. With a passion for integrating AI into marketing, she focuses on creating deeper, more meaningful connections between brands and their audiences. She's also a thought leader in relationship-based marketing and is currently pursuing a doctorate in strategic marketing. Wow. So, welcome to the show, Deanna.
Thank you. I'm so happy to be here.
Thank you so much. So, for our listeners, we talked a little bit about our background and we shared some sentiment about how I just joined the marketing space. Why? Because I just launched my own hypnotherapy practice. And just before that, I started Your Worthless podcast. But I didn't think much about marketing Your Worthless to the masses. I was just producing it because it was more for my own, it's very therapeutic for me. Hence, there's another story for that. I named my podcast You're Worthless because I felt that. I had my own journey, spiritual awakening just 4 years ago. So, just to give a little bit of context to our listeners and yourself, before we go deeper into the work that you do and why you do what you do. Love this episode? Now, transformation doesn't end here. Head on to @holistic.lifestyle_with_Nick. That is on my Instagram. Or head on to my website, www.denierras.holisticlifestyle.com for more info on my coaching framework, which is the Worthy, Authentic, and Abundant Framework, digital guides, and my upcoming events such as retreats and master classes and workshops. Now, I also do intuitive readings where we get to check on your soul path